He's not talking. Can you make us
Well, it says it's now live on YouTube.
Can we make a visual if you're hearing us? FX Twin?
Yeah.
Secret person? Secret person, can you like tell Ali to join us? Okay, wait a minute. I think, are we live? Is this the question everybody's asking when you stream?
It says it's live on.
All right, cool. So maybe I'll have a look at the, there's like 3 people watching already. Have a look at the chat on my YouTube account. I will, on my YouTube channel, here's the link. Secret guest, I have no idea how to send you that link, but
okay, got it.
You can send it within Zoom. You can send the link within Zoom.
Oh, right. I know that's the general chat. Where am I?
Okay, cool.
I'll just put the link in here. You should have it now. Do you?
Yeah, got it.
All right. So, hello everyone. Welcome to DJs and Beers episode number 3, season 1.
Good evening.
I have no idea how many seasons we have. We're still waiting on Dubfire, and I say hello to everyone who's tuning in. We're here with obviously David Truncate, Matt Radio Slave, Mo Drum Cell, and this person who is on my screen down there. We didn't actually hear the cling cling cling. Can you do that again?
Oh, there's no audio. There's no audio.
Oh, there's no audio.
Again, audio.
You have to check your mic, secret FX Twin mask holder. I'm drinking wine tonight. No, we can't hear you.
I forgot to grab my beer.
So this down there or up there or wherever you see this person with the mask on, we have no idea who it is. Just to explain to you, because you probably didn't read my post, as rarely people do. We have this new little concept that every one of us invites a guest for each show, but he doesn't tell the others who that is. So this person down there is the first secret guest that we have on this show. And Ali invited him, Dubfire, who is still not with us, which I have no idea why. Because I would love Ali to introduce our secret guest. So maybe we just wait.
I don't think we have any other choice.
What have you been up to this week, Chris?
While our secret guest is working on his... everybody. While our secret guest is working on his audio, is he? Mo, can we hear you?
I can hear me. Can you hear me?
Oh, great!
Hello?
I haven't heard you yet.
Yeah, I think secret guest is the only one with no audio.
We will figure that out somehow. The secret guest just needs to email Neil, because it's the concept how we set it up. Like Neil is in contact with the secret guest and explained everything to the secret guest, and that was my WhatsApp. Okay, we are waiting for Ali. Anyways, how was the week, guys? Compared to last week?
Well, me personally, kind of the same. Haven't been much productive. The weather's been kind of crappy here. I've been drinking less beer.
Really? On purpose, or it just happens?
On purpose. I needed to chill.
Cool.
And yeah, this is my first beer in like 3 days, so it's a start. And
nice.
Remix contest wise is still going. It's over on Monday, so it's almost over. And yeah, that's kind of it.
How you have some?
Oh man, it's breaking up, Chris. I don't know what you're saying.
You have some good things coming in already?
Yes, a lot. And getting tons of submissions. So it's going to be tough to pick a winner. That's for sure.
maybe you have to pick 4 winners.
Maybe you gotta do a whole compilation.
Well, I don't want to announce anything yet, but that's kind of the plan already. So yeah,
Sorry, I didn't mean to blow that.
no, that's all right. It's all good. Not everybody is watching this, so
No, I hope not. Hey, sorry, secret guest. You just have to hang in there until your friend Ali is on board. Right. You can give us some hints, right? You
I
could
saw
do
there was
some-
I
do
saw
you
a
have-
I saw a tattoo on the end. Who do you know that has a tattoo here?
Oh, really? Oh,
That's what
I see smoke. I see smoke. That's a sign. There's 2 signs already: Detroit and smoke.
Well, that could be a number of things.
Matt, how was your week?
It's been okay. I mean, it's been usual kind of the amount of, it's just hectic with the kids. I've not done any work in the studio this week,
Oh,
apart from yesterday I did the Rinse FM show. So if you get bored of tonight watching this, you can tune in to Rinse FM from 9 o'clock on GMT and listen to me and with our special guests Raven and Theo Nasser. So that's in the next like an hour. So yeah, that was what I did that yesterday. But yeah, I'm really trying to just slow down because people seem to be very stressed at the moment. So and I'm just trying to get everyone to chill out a bit,
Yep.
including myself. So yeah, maybe just slow things down. I mean, I guess we're going to be here for a while, so and I think we're going to maybe talk about this later with the whole release schedules and how people kind of will adapt with whether or not releasing dance music is the right thing now or later. But yeah, we've just been trying to. One of the things we've been doing this week is doing the release schedule for the next 2 months. So yeah, we've been doing that. That's been my week.
I think that's a good thing to talk about later once we have our guests back. And Mo, you have a 3-year-old son now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Weird. Had a I had a birthday party for my son, which was interesting because he doesn't quite understand why we're still quarantining, and we was really upset that he couldn't have his friends come over for his party. And my wife had the idea of maybe doing like a Zoom chat with the family and having everyone get together, which was like good and bad. Good because he was happy to see everybody, but then bad because he was also like, well, when are you guys coming over? And it made things a little confusing. But other than that, I've been plugging away at the studio, just making loops, and I don't think I have a set plan of what I'm doing. I'm just trying to create and just try to do something with the time that I have here, and at the same time keep our sanity within the family. Everyone's just trying to figure out how to live with each other through this, you know what I mean? And yeah, it's been tense for sure. There's times of it being tense, there's times of it being fun and being a blessing in disguise. So it's an emotional roller coaster up and down with everything going on around here.
Yeah, I mean, we're the same. I mean, we're so used to having a schedule of like literally every day taking the kids to kindergarten, coming back and then doing stuff. And that's totally, everything's changed. So yeah, it's 24/7.
Absolutely. And at the same time, also, I don't think anybody in my house is used to me being around so much.
Yeah.
There's like, there's another person who's there all the time who's also disturbing whatever usual schedule's going on as well. So
Yeah.
a lot of new dynamics to figure out and get through. But in the end, I'm enjoying spending time with my kids more and being here with them. So.
And you, Chris?
I'm alone. I think we're in such different situations and settings. Like David and I were completely alone in this, and I think it's a whole different experience of what you guys have. Obviously, it's like you guys have to organize and plan with each other so much more, and obviously work with the kids, which is, I mean, I have 2 kids myself that are
Uh-oh.
older now, but a 5-year-old right now. Wow, that is like that's heavy. Somehow my internet is really slow. I'm not sure what I'm doing here.
You have a lot of, are you like running a lot of things on your computers back there?
I don't run anything somehow.
Maybe everyone's tuning in.
Maybe like millions of people tuning in here. That's why the server is breaking down. I'm hearing that Ali and the secret guest and Neil are still working on Salt. So because we were just at it, I think and Mo suggested that early on too, and I was thinking about this too. Are we going to produce more club music now or not? Are we done? I'm so like, I just finished 2 remixes, which I'm super happy with, and I was just yesterday at some point. It all becomes quite one day, but I'm really having fun actually, just having the beats now going and everything. I'm enjoying so much sitting here, finally being able to do this. And now apparently no one seems to want to listen to club music, or do they? I mean, I need music for streams and stuff, so we still need music. What's going on? Help me.
I think that, well, from my side, I think that the thing is that with us, with our work, is that when we restart, when everyone goes back out, when people can go to clubs, when we can play, are you going to be playing the music that's out that month, or are you going to be playing the music that you made 6 months ago? What's going to be how's it going to work? And also, are labels or artists going to delay releases, or is the summer a good time to release something if no one's actually working? Will DJs in the end stop downloading promos or even buying music? Because there's already, I mean, Chris, we've all been playing techno for over 20 years. You could actually not play anything new and it still be relevant.
Yeah.
I could not play anything new and still be relevant. What does that mean?
Well, you've only got to look at a lot of the DJs that are playing, like younger DJs now, and all they're playing is 90s Euro techno, or because that's what's become sort of like popular. So, and there's a lot of great music that still sounds amazing, that was made even in the early 90s. Wow.
Hey, Ali.
Wow.
Hey, let's get back to that, because I find that extremely interesting, and especially that question about like, what are we doing with the tracks that we've already done? If we release club tracks now, they're going to be old by the time clubs open up again, and nobody wants to play them. So we hold them back, but then we don't have any new music to play in streams. Anyways, we'll talk about this later. We'll say hello to Ali. Hello, Ali. Welcome to the.
What's up? Maybe I should get rid of my virtual background. Sorry, guys. Today I'm a bit technologically challenged, which happens.
Okay.
That's all good. How was your week? How was your week? And please tell us about your secret guest, and so he can finally take that mask off.
Wow, what a mask. Amazing. Well, the only hint that I can give you guys, and I'll give you a hint, is that 2 of us in this group chat have collaborated with this artist before.
Okay.
Any guesses?
I don't want to guess wrong.
Okay, we all know, I'm thinking we all know this person, or like they're an acquaintance of all of ours.
Okay.
I would like to think.
A producer or a DJ?
Both. And live performer.
Are they from the city that they're representing on their sweater? Or from around there?
No, that's a bit misleading.
Wonderful.
Detroit versus, that's great, amazing. Well, I don't know, Chris, like this is a new thing, huh? Are we going to keep this going where every week?
I have no idea. So far it sounds like a 90s game show.
Well, I think it's a great idea to bring in, a guest every week.
Hold on.
And here we are, like with the first guest.
No, you know what? Before we reveal the guest, I'm going to open the, because that is for some reason the only way I see the comments of you guys.
It's a new thing, huh? Are we going to keep this going where
sorry,
every week?
Okay. So any of you guys who are putting putting comments in the YouTube chat now here. I actually see them.
Yes.
Does anyone have an idea who this guest is? Because we don't.
I see a lot.
Anyone?
I think that Detroit's throwing everyone off.
Totally.
Is
I'm a really bad '90s game show host.
this person in the U.S. or Europe?
Europe.
Europe. Oh, I
Really?
didn't narrow it down.
Okay, let's narrow it down. What city?
Oh, come on.
Yes,
Okay, let's narrow it down to country, France.
Oh,
Miss Kitten.
yeah, that's what I'm guessing too.
awesome.
I got you.
Welcome.
Can you hear me though?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, get that mask.
Yeah, it's from the original Aphex
wow.
Twin.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was in the EP,
Ah,
and it's really loose. It's very old. It's from '96.
wow.
You see,
I
Put
saw
it
you
on eBay.
went at Coachella.
I wore it quite a few times, as you can see.
I saw the show at Coachella
Yeah, like-
April last year. It was fucking amazing. Really, really amazing.
So nice to see you guys.
Hey,
So nice that you're on board here. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm in my studio. in
I'm
my
still
house.
trying to change your name from secret special guest. To I think I've done
You
it.
have to do it. No.
There you
Oh,
go.
there you go.
Nice to meet you, the two of you that I haven't met yet.
Caroline, meet
No.
Mo.
I don't think we ever met. in
So,
person.
and Caroline, meet David, who's Truncate.
Hi.
Hi.
How you
You
doing?
have something to drink, by the way? Oh, just to smoke?
You're smoking.
The thing is, like, I was late because my dog just did a massive mess downstairs while I was getting ready, and so I punished her, and I was late. So she's in her cage with she's punished. Yeah, poor dog. Yeah, but she's tough, so I have to. Yeah.
How many days have you been sitting there alone, or are you only with the dog, or who are you with?
No, I live alone by choice in a 500 people village. It's like 1.5 hours southwest of Paris in a beautiful countryside. I bought a very cheap 70s house, nothing like a castle or anything. So I renovated it 70s. And this is actually, it's above the garage. It was the attic, and it's soundproof. And you have here all my turntables. My record collection is very small because I sold everything. I kept only the most precious vinyls.
Okay, well,
And here is all my equipment. I mean, taking it off. Yeah,
I like how you covered
And-
everything.
yeah, because of dust.
Dust-proof.
And I'm very neat. So, and yeah, I garden a lot. My garden has never been that neat. I cook a lot. I bake. I stopped because I'm gaining weight, and I used to ride my horse. I have a horse, and I used to ride every day. And of course, with quarantine, I can't, and so I don't really exercise besides having walks with my dog or gardening. So it's tough on me, that part, like not being able to ride. And yeah, it's but I don't really miss music. I just finished the album with the Hacker, so like, yeah, my microphone yesterday. I comped
congrats.
all vocals, cleaned all vocals. It's all ready to go. but we are locked in, so we won't have the possibility to go and mix it as planned. And also we had a photo shoot for the album by Dave Clark, and we can't meet, so we may do a virtual photo shoot. So Dave in Amsterdam and Michelle in Grenoble and me here, and try to make something up. So that's very interesting. What about you guys?
Do you think you're gonna release, like, have you set a release date for the album, or because of what's happened, you're just gonna put a hold on everything, but just have
Well,
everything prepped and ready?
So far, it's scheduled for the end of the year, and we might have to see with vinyl pressing how it goes, because everything is stopped. I think this may be the only technical issue we have, because the rest, like we have a very good deal for digital, so everything can be done by computer. But we really want to mix the album for the first time with someone else, because technology has evolved so much. It's impossible to release, like the first album was made at Michelle's place, recorded live and just a small mastering. But, you know, at this time, there were no EQs, no compression like it is today. And that's a difficult part, to mix it, to make it like technically modern sounding, but keep the dirt. So Michelle needs to be there in the studio to make sure the dirty side of, because this production is really raw, like lyrics are really punk, it's back to the basics. So it's important that we do it old school, but with new technology, and that's an issue, you know. It's interesting.
What about working with Mike Geseffelstein?
Well, he's in Israel, and he travels a lot to US, because it's his main market, you know, US. And he wanted to do it, but it takes it will be difficult. So we decided to do it with Nicolas Maseyev, because he's a good friend of us. He's like an amazing sound engineer. You know, he does all the technical stuff for Stefan Bodzin, and yeah, he's very good, and he works at home, and we love each other. It's easy to go on the French Riviera, have a good time, and so Michelle will go there first, I think, and whenever they want me to come over, I will join them for the last few days to have my words, you know. But it's Michelle's part. He's very protective with his sound. It's already a big step for him to give up on mixing the tracks, but it's important that we do it. We cannot work like we did it before. Yeah. So, but exciting. I'm very happy with it, and I'm happy with the fact that it's radical. It's very political as well somehow. Yeah, I'm sure you will like it.
Is
Yeah.
it club music?
Sorry.
What?
How
Is
many
it club
songs
music?
on the album?
What?
Go ahead, Chris.
Go ahead, Ali.
No, just to, I guess, end the conversation about the album. How many songs do you have on there? I'm just curious.
Just 8.
Have a beer.
Yeah. That's good.
8. It's rather short tracks, depends, but most of the tracks are very raw and minimal and dark. And we have 2 disco songs and 2 tracks like Detroit-ish, like in the vein of a melodic Doppler effect or Other People Place, you know. But yeah, the rest is quite harsh. Yeah, I'm not sure it's playable, but I already played the most hardcore ones, and it's great. It really sounds cool in a techno set to play one of these electro rough track with my distorted voice, and there is a lot of songs in French for the first time and one in Russian.
Oh,
Yeah, we wanted to try new things, and that was my innovative part, to assume my French, and because people don't need to understand me anymore, you know, so I can say shit in French, and that's what I do. It's really cool. And Russian, well, Google Translate was my help.
oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's the only thing I've been doing. You know, I always mixed at home for my pleasure, and recorded CDs or tapes for my friends. So for me to be alone at home playing music for myself, I always did that. So I don't see the point to do a streaming, or because it's a natural thing for me. I don't really need people to see me when I do that. You know what I mean? It's a private moment. I really need that in my life once in a while. So yeah.
Yeah, you have a lot of them right now.
What?
You have a lot of these moments now, probably.
Yeah, but the thing is, I really love to be alone. I need it. I'm intellectually hyperactive. I was diagnosed a few years ago with a high IQ, and I'm like I'm followed by a therapist to deal with that, and so it's important for me to be alone, because I collect too much information, and it stresses me out a lot. So to move out, to step out of city life, also of gigs, I reduced my gigs, and it took me a very long time to find the balance and to give up on being present in the scene. Now I don't care. I gained back my artistic freedom to play when I want. I don't want to be a slave of parties, you know. Even though I love music, it was very important in this stage of my life to be free. And I know it's not easy, because it's our passion. And I'm much happier now. I'm much more in peace, and I realized the stress I was in all these years because of this high activity in my mind, the pressure I put on myself. And yes, it made me move mountains and do amazing things, but day after day, it was too difficult to live like that. And I was always borderline. I know I don't look like, because I look like I'm a very stable person, and I am, but inside it's and I know you can relate to what I say, because a lot of people in the scene are like that. And that's what makes us like antisocial sometimes, or hard to deal with family issues, and you know, so yeah.
Did you have a release?
Deep.
I was going to ask, did you have a release date set for the album then? Was that already planned, or are you now having to move it?
I don't know yet. So far, we keep the plan as it is, because I have a team in London with my manager, and all the
What label are you doing this with?
Matt needs to sign it.
well, it will be on Dark Entries.
Okay, nice. Okay.
Yeah, it
cool.
makes sense for us. It's really like a great home for us, and we are very fortunate to be with Josh.
Yeah.
And digitally, It's more simple if it's on my label, because Michel has a label too, Zone Records, but my deal with the distributor is much better. And so for both of us, financially, artistically, it's better to do it with my setup.
Yeah, 'cause I saw in France already. They're starting to delay a lot of releases, especially albums and stuff, which is, I think.
Yeah, but you
strange.
know what? I think it's interesting to see that big structures in general, including festivals or labels, or they will suffer more of this because they are not that flexible. And that's the point with independent structures and small labels or small clubs. It will be easier for smaller businesses to move on. And I think it's great. It's really great because in times of crisis, small businesses were always able to rebound much faster. And I think the scene needs that. I think we will, we won't go back to big festivals with big money from day one. It's impossible. And I think it's good. I think we will be offered to play in small clubs, maybe to raise money to help them survive. I think we will have we will start working like this to support the small clubs and especially in our land, because we won't be able to travel.
Yeah, are you going to be doing? I'm just asking you this because, I mean, you're obviously you're a live performer. So with the album, I guess when you release it, you would like to tour with it, right? So
yeah, well, we discussed about this before working on the album, and to be honest, touring live is too heavy, and also because if you have to commercially look at what we do, we are too big as for small, and we are too small for big. We are in between. So you have to invest too much money as a medium act to make it easy for us. So we decided to play rather DJ, but to DJ the instrumental songs, and I will sing over it while we DJ, which is much easier because it's still live, but it makes it more flexible for everyone, for festivals, for ourselves. And also if we play 1 hour, we can play whatever we want. We don't have to, we can react, depends on the crowd or on the festival or whatever on the, it's interesting. And for me, it's easy and it's fun, and it's fun to do it this way. And I don't think anybody does that yet, like we want to do. And Michel will have some keyboards and I use my pedal. And so it's still live. And, you know, if we would play live, we would need anyway a backup track, because a lot of this is made with analog machines. Michel doesn't work much with plugins, and it's impossible as 2 people to handle this, to travel with the gear, but also to control it. You nearly need 1 person per gear. And when I sing, I mean, I can't control synthesizers at the same time. It's too complicated. So it's better to play DJ with instrumentals than hiding a backing track under the table and pretend it's live or run a computer. I think we talked about this with Michel, and we thought it's much more honest to do it this way. So yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
Very nice.
Enough about me. I want to hear about you guys.
It's
Yeah.
okay. You're our first guest, so it's nice to hear somebody else talk.
Oh,
Yeah, we
after
already-
being
How
silent from the.
It's amazing how still Chris sometimes gets, where it looks like his screen is frozen.
Froze,
You're
yeah.
so still sometimes. I just watch you to see if
I was
frozen,
It does
and then you
freeze
move,
it.
and I'm like, oh my god, you could be a mannequin.
First
Yeah.
of all, like, I'm gonna become the moderator now. So where are you guys? First of all,
All right.
so Ali, where are you?
I'm in Washington D.C.
In your home, at your parents, at friends,
in
in
my
a
home.
hotel?
In my
In your
home. Yeah.
Okay. Next,
Uh,
Chris, you're next on my screen. Oh no, you're next. You are next.
I'm in Frankfurt. I'm alone in my apartment, and as you can see, I was just about to renovate and move because I'm building a studio right below me, which is halfway. No, actually only the floor is in there, and I packed everything before the lockdown came, and well, then the lockdown was there, and I decided to turn this room into my rave cave.
Nice. You?
Where's the old studio?
So where are
Me.
you guys?
I'm in Los Angeles, here in my studio. Just
Which part of town do you live?
I live on the eastern side of the city in the San Gabriel Valley, so I'm about 30 minutes out of the downtown area. Usually it's a rather peaceful place, but right now it's a little hectic with everything going on. But yeah, just hanging in there. It's been raining and the weather's been different. David said the weather's been bad, but I actually like it because it doesn't rain very often, and it's more of an incentive to not go outside.
Well, I don't mind the rain at all, but I meant as bad as in it's really not that normal for this time of year, because usually by April we're at least kind of, I mean, pretty sunny and a little bit warm.
You
it's
are in
been-
LA too?
Yeah, I'm in Long Beach.
Nah,
and
yeah, nice.
I'm in my house in Long Beach in my studio. But yeah, the last month, I think we've had maybe a week of sun. Other than that, it's been cloudy and raining, and it's really weird for California
Yeah.
or LA. So that's what I meant. I don't
Well,
mind.
better rain than having some brush
An
fire
earthquake.
right now.
Yeah. or
That'd be
for a massive earthquake.
That'd be an absolute disaster to be going through at this particular moment right now.
Oh, an earthquake would just destroy California.
We actually had a small earthquake a couple days ago. It was down in
Oh,
San
okay.
Diego, but we felt it up here in LA.
I heard about it. I didn't feel anything.
Yeah.
It was
And
in
you're
San
in
Diego.
Berlin?
But we weren't felt
You're
it.
in Berlin. There is Radio
I'm-
Slave. You're in Berlin, right?
Yeah, I'm in Kreuzberg in Berlin, and yeah, it's been amazing. The weather this week's been amazing. It's been super sunny. It's finally
Switch.
warm.
Europe Swiss with the West Coast of California.
I actually have a sunburn.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
How did you get a sunburn being in quarantine?
Huh?
How did you get sunburn in quarantine?
Well, I have a great balcony,
Oh, that's true.
and thanks to Amazon, I have a sun chair now too.
Hopefully you're not laying out there naked for all the neighbors to see.
Not really. I'm still waiting for one part of my no see-through stuff for the balcony.
All right.
But I don't need to stand anymore, because literally I noticed that since the lockdown, I literally didn't have anything to basically live here because I've been on the road so much. So I had to really get some of the most basic stuff, not for the kitchen because I've always been cooking, but other things like, for example, a chair for the balcony. I've never had one. It's just like there was no point in having that, and little things like this. So Amazon has come and visited me daily on a daily basis. But Caroline, when you just talked about it was such an amazing thing. You were just telling us all about how you feel about the music, how you feel about being alone and being like more in control of your own career and
Yes.
being in control of what gigs you're playing. I think, I mean, I can only talk about myself in the past, 27 days. I have a little like prisoners do. I have this little thing in the background where every day I do a little stripe. For 27 days, I've realized that, yeah, I love what I'm doing. I love DJing, and I never say no to a gig. And whenever there's there's another 5th gig on the weekend, you want to play it? I'm like, yeah, I want to play it. I don't know, that's in me. I don't get out of there. So I was forced out of this now. And I kind of realized how much energy this is taking from me, this whole touring thing. I can literally do nothing else. And since I'm alone now for 27 days, I mean, part of us are alone, part of us have families like Mo and Matt. I'm alone as well, and I love it. I have to really say, I really, really enjoy this time here to do my things. At the same time, I really love to do the streams. And I think also talking and interacting with some of the people. I know I see your questions, by the way, and we're going to get into this. And also doing my streams and playing my music in a way. But I only realized this now. Have you realized all this before the lockdown already?
For myself, yes, because I went through a lot in my life privately, and it forced me to adjust very, very early on about this. And I always knew that, you know, we have a saying, don't put all your eggs in the same basket. Is it the same in English?
Yeah.
Yeah. I realized that I didn't want music to be my life. I didn't want music to eat my life. And it did, because for me, it was an escape from where I came from my condition. I wanted to see the world. I wanted to be a free woman, and this was my passport. And I jumped into it, and then I got caught in this wheel. And then I realized there's something wrong. I'm not completely happy. And I realized I missed my friends. I was never there for them when they needed me. And I realized that one day I can turn around and and nobody's there. And also I would have not been there for the ones I love. So I decided to slow down, but it took me like maybe 15 years to really find the balance, because I felt guilty not to be on the road. And I felt I was never at the right place. Also in my music somehow, too early or whatever, you know. But it's very interesting to nourish your life. Take the time to nourish your life with a lot of different things, including laziness, including stupid things, including going to the movies, or, you know, and be with random people, your old friends who are not in music, who know you really, who don't care. And that was really the key for me to find that balance. And now that music stopped, I'm very happy, because I built up a surrounding of friends, a house. I found a place, because I never had a home before. I was moving constantly every 5 years, Switzerland, Berlin, Paris. But when you find, or when a land finds you, which is different, and it's a great feeling. And I'm really saying thank you every day for finding this place where I can, you know, root myself. And so for me, that the music stops, and the world stops, it's great. It's great, because I have everything I need besides my friends or my horse or a party from time to time, but this will come back. I think it's a time where we can really face where we are at in our life. And this is great, because we can it's the time where we can change what's not working anymore, and make our life better, because we are forced to do it. So I think it's a good time for us. If you are willing to do this change, it's a great time, and then you are set for the rest of your life. Because I don't know your age, but I think there is also this second half of our life that we don't want to miss. And so far, the first one was a hell of a ride, and with no regrets. And now, yeah, yeah, I want more. I want to slow down things. I want to enjoy things more, including playing, and that's why it's important to choose my gigs and be very, very happy to leave home, and you project yourself in the club where you are going, and you're there, you're more present. You're not just running into a plane and running to another party, and where you always think you are behind. It's not natural to live like this. I think we have some kind of superpower, but the price is very high to pay, So to be
Many of
gentle
us feel this
with,
way. Yeah,
with
you're absolutely right.
ourselves. Yeah. So
Well,
yeah, it's up to us, no one forced us to do this. And it's in our hands. We are in control of our life. So, and to be honest with you, I've never been that creative since I slowed down, because also when I make music, my energy is different, my will is different, and also when I play, yeah, my energy and my communication with people is different. I think it's
Are
more.
Are you finding that you're more inspired because you've managed to find a better life-work balance?
Of course, because when our job is to go and perform and give people a good time, inspire people if it happens, and you have to come with a message, or you have to say something through the music you play. It's not just putting one track after another. We must have a meaning behind it. We all have. So what kind of luggage do you bring with you when you play? If you are tired, if you are stressed out, what kind of energy do you transmit to people when you are like this? And to come all the time with a fresh energy, for me, I realized that I couldn't do it 3-4 times a week. If I do it 1 time a week or 2 times a week max, I'm at my best. I'm fresh, and I know that people feel it. Because you are communicating on a energetic level. It's not with words. It's you cannot even explain it or measure it, but it works because you see it in people's eyes and how they move. And it became crucial for me to go to play with that pure energy. I don't want to lie. Go to a party and I'm tired and I don't know what time it is and I don't know which city I am. I wanted to do this with more honesty, because otherwise I couldn't sleep at night. Simply, I had the feeling that I was not doing the things right, but it's for myself. I know I take this very seriously, too deeply for sure, because some DJs can go and play like more lightly, and I think it's great. I think
there's also
they're
a lot of DJs
less
that wish they had the
complicated.
option to have that many gigs as well, too.
Yeah, but And not everybody has to be as complicated and fucked up as I am, but
I
you
think the
know,
key
but,
though, the key is to be present, like wherever you're at, like whether it's
Sure.
in the studio or in front of an audience, or with
Yeah.
family, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. It's just to be in the moment, and it's something that right now everyone's doing a lot of this kind of introspection that it seems like you've been doing for years now. And with this pause, it's forced a lot of people to look at their lives, look at their life work balance, their personal relationships, and to recalibrate everything that's going on in their lives. And ultimately, when we all come out of this, I think everyone's going to be a bit more, you know, at least most of us who are doing this kind of introspection and been around for a long time to know what the hustle feels like. We're all going to come out of it, like, I think, with being better and like you said, transmitting our energies to the audience in a lot better.
Ali, do you think you're going to be? I mean, when we can start playing, do you think it's going to be regional for you in the States? Do you think you'll start playing more in the States? Like, because I think it's definitely going to be that's going to happen here in Germany. You know,
I don't think every territory is going to open up at the same time.
No, of course not.
It's not going to be like a switch.
But do you think you'll find yourself playing in places that maybe you haven't played in for ages, like more attention in the US? Or
I mean, most likely yes, just because other territories may not have opened up yet.
Yeah.
But, you know, we're not as lucky as you guys are in Europe, where we don't have like, you know, we don't have this rich dance music history and this club culture.
Yeah.
So we don't have the abundance of, you know, the right festivals and clubs and stuff.
Yeah.
You could go, you know,
Yeah,
there's
but
just a handful of options in the States.
yeah, but borders won't open in Europe either.
Oh.
No.
So we will all be confined in our own country. You can say goodbye to big festivals. I mean, if they are canceling Olympic Games, there is no way they will open clubs in Ibiza. You know what I mean? So I
You're
think
going to see a cap, like probably. I was talking to some friends in Amsterdam. They were saying what they're hearing is when things do get going again, most likely. I mean, a lot of people are echoing these thoughts. There's going to be like a cap on the amount of people, depending on how bad a particular territory was affected by the virus. So you may see cap of 1,000, 2,000 max in a lot of territories. And that's going to render all these massive festivals like Tomorrowlands or whatever.
I mean, don't get me wrong, but it sounds kind of like a good thing.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing.
I mean, because to be frankly honest with you, everything has been building and growing out of control.
Yeah.
And the market has been just, you know, capitalizing on dance music in so many ways. And this is a great reset button. It's a great reset, not only for established DJs, but for up and coming DJs to get opportunities to play in local places, and for people in their own cities to actually start supporting their local DJs and the people in their own towns.
Yeah, and I think it's affected the kind of music we're all making, with the amount of festivals and, you know, the time slots, and the fact that like you have such a big audience, and the DJ before you's banging it, you know, like everybody on the lineup's going to be banging it. So you got to play these records with the big breakdowns. So producers are making the records with the big breakdowns. So it's everything is interconnected. It's affected it. Yeah.
There's a perfect question by X101 in here. Can you ask the guests, do they find having to DJ for a living makes their music worse because they have less time to experiment? And I include makes it maybe worse because you have such slots that we were just talking about. You have those 2-hour slots, you're making just music that works for that moment, and you're completely limiting your creativity to only one certain style of music. Do you find that too? That's the question, X101.
I think it's a question of personality. You have people who play safe games, they play safe tracks, they want to see people going crazy, and you have other DJs who are, it's not the barometer. To see people screaming is not the barometer, and who make a point to always experiment. But these people, of course, they are not very often headlining huge stages, because also, as you said, capitalizing, you want a DJ that delivers for 2 hours. So, but there is space for everyone. So I personally need to experiment all the time. Otherwise, when I go back to my hotel, I'm not satisfied. I think if I play safe, for me, I don't play good. I tell myself I play good when I can spread 1 crazy, 2, 3 crazy records in my sets, and that's also why I decided to choose the places where I wanted to play much more, to be able to maybe play 1 hour electro if I want on a slot of 3. It depends. Like if you do this, if you need money, if your goal is to earn a lot of money, then of course you have to play like the safest possible to satisfy the most, so.
Yeah, you know, a good friend of mine who's a very well-respected producer and DJ once told me, before I was even completely financially dependent on DJing, he told me that the day that you become financially dependent on DJing is the day that you have a completely different perspective on music, and it might affect your creativity. And I was like, you know, at the time I thought of it like, oh, that's bull. I'm always going to do what I want to do. And over time, when you start getting into that chug of the train, it does change your perspective on the way you go about things, because it does tend, no matter how much people claim they're the type of person who says, oh, I don't give a fuck about what anybody thinks about my music, I'm going to do whatever I want. There is a moment in everybody's weakness where you start to think, oh no, I got to do a record that's better than my last record. And I've got to play a DJ set that's better than the one before. And you always got to have this constant pressure to top yourself, to do something more innovative and different and change, to continuously live up to the expectations of the public. And that can seek into your psyche. And it does, it can completely demolish your creativity and your originality in a lot of ways.
Yeah, but
So
that's why you have to not to compare yourself to others so much. You have to have the strength to, well, let's say the word, isolate yourself. Like Jeff Mills says, he doesn't look at other people because he wants to keep his, his creativity. So,
but a lot of that comes from experience.
We are also paid for this. We are also paid to deal with that. So it's part of the job. We have to be creative, like to keep our satisfaction alive, but satisfy people at the same time. That's so the whole dilemma of every artist, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think that comes with experience. And there's a lot of young producers who don't have that kind of experience or that kind of insight into their career, who can easily get caught up in the hype of this industry and always constantly trying to stay competitive with others.
Yeah, but it doesn't last.
It doesn't. And I think over time you start to learn your lessons, and then you start to retract and try to find who you are again. I mean, I feel like there's been times in my life that I've been through that, and I've seen others and my peers go through it, and you can see them going through it, and you're like, I hope that they can retract from that a little bit and pull back. But you know, it's all just kind of going out there and learning. And I think at the end of the day, you've really just got to learn how to please yourself and stay true to yourself and do what is you.
Yeah, because at the end, we do this for ourselves. That's the way we have to do it. It's a lie to say we do it for the crowd. No, we do it because it makes us happy, and in the way it makes people happy. And that's the point. If we are not happy, how can we make others happy? And that's the whole point, you know. That's where we are all fucked up.
It could be argued that we all do it for different reasons too.
Yeah,
so
it's also, you got to remember that what we were about was primarily like an event business. The music business had become an event business, and now because of what's happened, it's going to become maybe a music business again.
Yeah.
Because like companies like RA that were primarily a ticketing agency or like Ticketmaster, they've lost all their business, and there is nothing left but the music, which is great, I think, for all of us, or especially performers or people, singers, for everyone, to find themselves again and not have the pressure of having to perform.
But then that comes down to selling the music, where everyone's usually getting their music from streaming services, which pay dick. So how is an artist going to be expected to make a living without performing? Which I think pretty much even when it comes up to pop musicians, most of their money now is coming from the tours. And how are they? How is someone going to make a living off of music when there's no gigs to perform at? I mean, record plants are closing. No one's buying music anymore. Everyone's streaming on Spotify. Yeah, there's a handful of people that are buying off of Bandcamp and supporting artists directly, but come on, that's not going to pay your rent. You know what I mean? And granted, I shouldn't say people should do it for that reason, like make music to earn money, but some people, that's what they want to do with their life, and like, yeah, the performing is where, I mean, let's be honest, that's what's paying our bills,
Yeah, but I'm talking maybe more about just particularly in our business, where I think it's become more of just purely about the event and not really more about I think the music's become second place in the last few years, where it's all big festivals, and it's just it is more about the confetti spectacle of rather than what's really the music,
Absolutely.
It's become about image, personality, and event culture.
Yeah,
it's more important than actual musical content.
I think you're talking about the biggest the visible part, but there is a lot of clubs where it got back to the basics a lot. There is a lot of people who don't really want to go to festivals anymore. And you earlier on you were talking about this 90s revival, but it's part of it, like it was back in the days, like these techno clubs with no seats, great sound system, and cheap entrance. Of course, you are not paid a lot comparing to festivals, but well, it's amazing. It's really great. I prefer to many times to play in clubs like this, where I have 3-4 hours and I'm paid less, but it's much more satisfying also for creativity, So it depends what you want to do. If you want to play in big festivals, it's possible, but then you have to play this game. So then don't complain, it's
I think this thing, as this event business, this style has trickled all the way down to even small clubs, where I think promoters, even in small clubs, still will book Instagram influencer DJ.
You wanted to name names, huh?
No, but they feel that they need to, and going to I know what you're saying, Caroline, about this, the more kind of like, say, Berghain clubs, but there's a lot of exhibitionism which goes on there, which didn't happen like 10 years ago, where even though there's no cameras, people love to be seen, even if they're just wearing like tape on their boobs or blah blah blah. It's really changed, even in those clubs where there aren't any cameras, because everyone wants to be the star, and it's not. It's a weird time,
It is.
It's the social network thing, but there is a lot of artists who are genuine, I think.
Of course, I think we're all genuine, right?
There is a lot of race of artists who are really cool, I think. So of course there are ones who pretend to be cool and are like Instagram stars, whatever, but all in all, I think it's quite diverse. Yeah,
I don't think we can
that's
paint
my
everything with
opinion.
one
But
brush. There's so many dynamics of things going on everywhere, so you can't speak in absolute all the time. But yeah, I've never ever before has techno in specific been more about image than it is about actual musical content. I mean, of course, there is an underground scene and there are people who care and there are clubs that are great. And that of course that exists. But let's look at the percentages, and the mass quantity of it is certainly swaying to one side.
Yeah.
yeah, but it's a short-term effect.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because let's talk about someone who is really popular on social media, but in 20 years or 30 years or 10 years or 5 years or even now, that the music stays. So if that person has great selfies or great pictures on Instagram, but no music, that if you ask, okay, give me the name of one track from that guy or that girl. If you cannot answer, you got it, you
Yeah.
know? So for me, I don't really pay attention to this anymore.
I agree to that to a certain extent, but I also think we're dealing with the whole new beast now with this social media thing. Versus I think all of us collectively have a more of an old school mentality where it's more about the music than the image. And granted, the music will live on forever, but these new fans and listeners are growing up in a whole different time where they're growing up with social media as a part of their daily life, and
Yeah,
it's like it's a whole different beast, I think. So
Yeah.
it's hard to say. I think it's hard to say for someone to be just mentally only about the music and not a social image. Where someone had brought this up a while back about party goers nowadays when they go to parties and Instagram, and like the party it's all about them now. It's not about them being at a party. Everybody wants to be the star, and they put themselves on camera and they broadcast themselves at a party showing that they're enjoying themselves. It's like they all want to be the star of the show, and that's the people you're dealing with now. Now granted, yes, this is not
Yeah,
everyone.
but it doesn't mean you have to surrender to this.
No, of course not.
You know,
But
as an artist, you can really like take a position as well.
yeah, I agree with that, but I'm just saying
No,
this is the
by the way you represent yourself, by
Would you-
the way you want to be represented, it's something, of course, we all have to integrate.
yeah.
But do you not think that there? I think with what we're going through at the moment, especially musically, there wasn't, say in the 80s or 90s, where you have the particular musical moment, whether it was drugs or music or culture, political or whatever, which drove music forward. And I think now I think it's very difficult for kids to really find what they're maybe into as well, which has also had an effect. I don't know. I find it's really strange going to like Berghain now, because it almost feels like you're going to like the club in the Terminator movie from the 80s. And like everyone's dressed up as like these techno gods, almost wanting to be seen. Whereas before it was more just about the music.
I don't know. I
I find it very
really
strange. I don't
see
think
it
people really know. I think people are trying to find their identity. It's a lot harder than maybe when we were younger. And even without like social media or even without the internet, I think you could find your tribe, or you could, even if whether it's punk or whatever, whether you're into hip hop or electro, you'd find these small pockets of like counterculture, which say like techno or house. And now it's so mainstream. It's a completely different thing. You know, it's crazy.
Could it be a lack of actual musical education though? I mean, it
I
seems like when we were younger, there were so many outlets like magazines or zines or things that we can go to where we learned about new stuff. And it seemed like at one point, Resident Advisor had set themselves up as like that position, but it kind of just collapsed. And it doesn't seem like there's a lot of people who have an avenue or a place to go to to learn about music, unless you're a DJ and you're like digging deep for tracks and you're learning about stuff. But the general population of people who don't buy individual tracks and just listen to DJ mixes, is there really a place where they can go and learn about the history of techno? I mean, I'm talking about 22, 21-year-old techno enthusiasts now. Do they really know about the people that we know who grew up, who pioneered this music, who did all this stuff? Are they able to get that same information somewhere?
But I think we're in the technical of that before, because there is an older crowd and I get to see them. So as you said, I think we don't need to brush it with a broad. Still so many older people as well in that audience, essentially, that I sometimes feel like
Very small percentage.
really.
I think I think you have to try to be in the shoes of the young people. Of course, they don't go to record stores, they don't go to bars or clubs, like, but they learn. They learn by going to parties like we did. They learn by like, they don't go to record stores, but they go on social media. And yeah, I think it's to us musicians to share our influences, and I'm also talking about the young, let's say, young musicians who have older influences. They share this on social media, and that's how young people learn, by watching their idols on social media. So I think we have a big impact on that, and I don't think it's a fate. I also learned through social media, I don't know, I see a stupid video from FIAC, they are tagging someone else, I'm going there, who is this guy? Oh, it's this young producer, they are a friend of them, whatever. That's how it works now, and I think it's cool, because it's you don't have to go to record stores where before you had to show to the guy that you knew about music, so they give you the right records. You know what I mean?
I think
So-
the point is more musical history than what's going on now. Of course, it's easy for people to get online and
The
find out
sharing
new
of information
DJs.
is easy.
Yeah, I'm talking about like people knowing their roots and where they came from. Because you'd be surprised, like how many people who might, be front and center at the next, I Hate Models show and who have never heard of Jeff Mills, maybe.
But it's no problem if they have fun, and if they enjoy it and have a good time. Like, my cousin, she's 20. She used to be a big fan of Martin Garrix, and then she discovered Robert Wood, and she's super into techno now, but she also listens to French hip hop really bad, and that's okay. I think it's cool. I think
that's
it's
totally
cool,
fine.
that it's not that elitist.
I don't think elitism is what I'm
point.
hinting to particularly.
Yeah.
I don't think it's about elitism. I guess it's a matter of perspective, and I understand your perspective completely. But I think for me, growing up, I think kind of knowing where you came from helped contribute to where you're going. And I think that sometimes, I don't know, I've always kind of been a musical historian, and it's not just about techno as well. I want to know about the roots of industrial music, the roots of jazz music, where our music came from, who the founders were, where it came from. And I think that really contributes to culture. And culture is important, because it seems like if you're just out there just to have fun, it's just pure hedonism. It's just, you're just partying. And,
Yeah, but
there's nothing wrong with that.
But
There's
we
nothing
are
wrong with that.
we are here for that.
Absolutely, we are.
Taking risks in our sets, or we are here for that.
Sure.
And there will always be gigs, for sure.
Oh yeah.
No, I think it's a good time. I mean, besides besides the mass market that doesn't really speak to me, other than that, it's a very exciting time as well, because you have a young generation that, as you say, doesn't know the roots, but connect to it somehow with this techno revival, or this Chicago house revival, or acid revival. and all the classics come back. So, you know, I think that's a pretty cool time because that's what I love to play. So perfect for me, you know,
I
somehow.
think it shows how amazing what a different approach we all have, and I think you both have a really valid point. I believe the person on the dance floor, in the moment he enjoys that music, in the moment he enjoys it, it doesn't matter if he has any knowledge of where this music comes from or who
Yes.
Jeff Mills is in that very moment, because he's enjoying it. But the music that he's enjoying it from should maybe have an idea of who Jeff Mills is. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So basically, we're getting back to the point, like you kind of also have this responsibility as a DJ to somehow also school the people a little bit musically, and then people maybe start to get more interested. Where does it come from? But I've heard this discussion a lot of times before, and I always found myself somehow in the middle, because I've never really been a musical historian. I sometimes found out now who was the producers of some of the biggest 80s tracks that I liked in the 80s. And I was like, oh, what, this guy produced this guy produced it, because I never really looked behind the scenes. I never really read, like, what's the label is this? I found this out later in life only, but I don't think it harmed me somehow. You know, it's the same discussion as we had last week. Is it helpful to learn producing and to know that you don't go into the red light, or you shouldn't go? You know, sometimes some knowledge might also limit you in some ways. So, you know, I think you're both right in a way.
Yeah.
It sounds weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As soon
Absolutely.
as we have good intentions, and that's all that really matters, you know. If you have pure and good intentions, the message will pass. Maybe I'm a idealist, you know.
When I just heard you talking, I couldn't get off that, like, this 2-hour techno DJ, like this, it all got so big. And I just kind of realized last summer, wasn't the last summer really the summer of the drum rolls and the snare rolls? Like, I'm guilty of that myself, and everybody had put in more snare rolls and more drum rolls and all the festivals. And it's interesting to look at it like this now, after the drum and snare. So I think we're in the drop now.
Mm. Yeah.
Are we?
Are you guys making a lot of music? I don't. But
We've just lost you. I need to get some more water. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we were discussing that earlier. David was having a bit of a writer's block. I've been a little bit busy making music, but haven't been finishing anything, which is a completely different topic. We should probably take some questions, because, you know, we've already been talking for about an hour and a half.
It's been
I'm
so
not even-
interesting to listen to all of you. It's amazing. Ali, have you seen me this quiet for a long time?
Chris has been the
What?
least
Say
quiet.
again? Huh?
Yeah, you don't even listen to me anymore.
I don't see the questions, so you
So
have
Chris
to
has
tell
to moderate some questions if
question.
you want to take them.
No,
Chris
I
is
actually do like the fact that, or do like that idea that the secret guest from now on is always the host.
I knew Caroline would make a great host, so.
Caroline, let's ask us something, or we will have a look.
No,
Okay.
you had there was a couple of topics that Chris had in the beginning. Did we already get to them?
No, let's continue to this one. To you, Caroline, you've listened to us when we were talking, and you still had the mask on. We didn't know who you were. When we were talking about what happens to club music now, and I was curious. I mean, you have this album now with Michel, with the Hacker, and is it, as far as I understood, it's aimed for listening to it and maybe dance to it and smash your head to it.
I don't know. We never
Were there any influences, like outside influences, that you brought into the studio, or you guys were just in a cocoon and you turned on the machines and just whatever came out, you channeled in your own unique way, and that's the album?
No, we talked about it. Like, what if we do another album? What do we want to say? What do we want to represent? And
like what style? or
It's
what
linked
kind of technology? Sorry.
No, it's linked with what we said before about the scene, about the PR kingdom, and it's hard to get old in this business, because you always think, okay, next year I'm over, or you have to accept that. You have to accept that someday it may stop. And for us, like our first album is 20 years old. And we were like, if we come back with a third album, how do we want it to sound? You know, it's a question. So we just said, like, we want to do what we know best. We will focus on what we do best. We don't look outside. We don't care about what's in and what's out musically. We focus on what we are good at. That's it. And yes, we are ironic. We are radical. We have a strange sense of humor. So we really talked about this before, just to remember why we were doing what we do. And that was the moment where Michel could isolate himself in the studio and get the stress out. And it's always what I do when I'm lost, when I'm confused, when I'm sometimes upset with what's going on in the scene. I just say, hey, like, shut everything down and focus on what you are good at and what you are unique at. And so we did that, and I pushed him to be really radical in the production. I pushed myself to be radical in my lyrics, no censure, nothing, and it was a liberation. But I really remember, like, this is the microphone. I would sing crazy stuff and say to myself, Michel will never want me to sing that, or it's ridiculous, or it's too funny, or whatever. And then I said, no, again, you are censuring yourself. Go for it. Don't be afraid. Just go for it, even if it's ridiculous, even if blah, blah, blah. Don't judge yourself. Go for it. And it worked. So we motivated Michel and I together to be afraid of nothing. And that's really what we needed in this moment to, radical, that's the word. And that's why it was very liberating to go back to the core of as an artist, you know. So for me, it's already a success just because of that, you know. But, and then Michel works on the music, and the magic is we don't have to be in the same room. That's the magic of it. We know each other so well. He knows when to leave, to build the track, to give the space for my voice. And when I get the track, I immediately know what to say, how to say it, which effect, which EQ, and where to put the lyrics. And I was wrong just on one track. So you see, it's magical. It's a blessing to have a friend like this, a partner with who you don't have to think. It's flowing, you know. But we need 10 years to do nothing to get there. We need to hate each other a bit and then need to come back together to make these things. But yeah, and I really love to work on my own and cut my lyrics and work on my EQ and try pedals. And I'm cooking here. I have my secret recipes, and you know, yeah. And I couldn't do it if Michel was in the room, and I think he couldn't make the music if I was in the room. So yeah, it's a great match.
Very nice.
Yeah.
It sounds like a perfect time for all of us now to do some radical things because we have the time and space to do them actually,
Oh,
right?
you should, because that's why people fell in love with you.
I know, but
Chris
Caroline, you
and
know,
Ali and all of you guys, like, people fell in love with your music for the most radical stuff you ever did, you know, somehow. I'm
yes,
sure your so-called like hits are stuff that you did really fast.
oh yeah.
Right?
But you know, but this thing is that you have the time now. You want to be radical, and what I'm really enjoying doing is club music right now. I'm really having fun just like thinking in a club. Yeah, kick drum, everything. And
Great.
now the question comes up, you know, not that it would ever matter to me. I'll do whatever I feel like doing, you know. So the question that I'm throwing in here is not because of me, because I'm not going to change anything that I'm doing, what I'm enjoying doing, because I might think it would be the wrong time to release something. That would be so stupid. That would be a total non-starter. And I'm sure everyone agrees to think about release, if a release makes sense at that time. Once you have something produced, I think we just want to release it. But I'm really having fun doing club music now. So what the hell am I going to do with this? Because no one is going to be dancing to them in the clubs now. What's going to be happening?
We can dance in our house.
Yeah, can we? Right.
I was thinking about this the other day too, because like, I mean, 99.9% of the music I make is club music, and that's just always what I've done. So it's like I haven't been able to work on music at all in the studio in this last month. I just haven't been inspired. But when I think about it, it's like, you know, in the end, like I should probably still give it a go. That way, I don't know, maybe something will come out that's gonna be club music, but also sort of different. I don't know. But also, like I think it was Matt saying it earlier, it's like if you release the music now, even though it's a bad time, are people going to forget about this in 2 months and are going to only be playing the promos they received that week? Or because like the short shelf life of music nowadays, you know what I mean? So it's like, would it even be worth it to put it out now? Are people going to still remember this in a month or two?
Yeah, because it would be a waste not to hear it in the club then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but if it's a killer, people will play it in 2 months. I think it's,
but I
it's
constantly play
better
this
not.
music anyways.
It's better not to calculate that. It's
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, to be spontaneous. And I think because there is no clubs, we need club music as well. Just because we can dance, we need dance music. I think it would be stupid if everyone was doing ambient music.
Yeah.
Boring, you know, like.
But don't you think
I
this is
think you have to do what you're good at.
But don't you think a lot of people are going to try to do non-club music right now because there are no clubs?
Probably.
I don't know about you guys, but my promo box hasn't stopped getting promos. They're still coming in.
Yeah, the
People are still releasing shit.
Yeah, that's true.
It's happening. I don't know. For me particularly, I'm trying not to think in strategy of when is a good time to release something and when is not a good time to release something. I want to release something because I'm eager to just like put something out and feel like I'm, you know, doing something with my time that I have down right now. And I think too much strategy thinking about like, oh, is this going to make the biggest impact? Is enough people going to listen to it? You know, am I going to get enough reviews on the record or any of that stuff is kind of irrelevant at this moment. I don't know. I think
I'm not saying it's about the reviews and stuff, but it's just I'm saying more about are people just going to forget about it when it comes time to.
I don't know. I guess the question is for all of you guys, like, how much of you really care that much if a record is 2 months old that you can't play it anymore?
I think those days are long gone. Half of what
I don't give a goddamn fuck personally.
I mean, I mix in key. I key all my tracks.
Yeah.
I raid my library and I mix old stuff with new stuff. I mean, if you listen to like, let's say like Villa Lobos, there's 60, 70% of what he's playing are old records, but in the way that he mixes and weaves it in with newer records, the Romanian stuff, whatever, all the minimal stuff that he plays, it sounds really fresh and exciting. And he has a certain groove and a certain way that he blends those records together. I think those days of like having that latest promo white label and making sure like, you know, you get it on before everybody jumps on it, those days are long gone.
That's long gone. That's true.
Yeah, it's right now about like creating, what kind of a story are you telling? What kind of an experience are you making for the listener, you know, for that environment?
Exactly.
I mean, I still play tracks that are 3 years old. And
You know?
20 years old.
2 years old. And if it's
constantly
dope,
playing
it rocks. I mean, I don't care. So if you release a record next week and no clubs are open, I mean, I'll still play it in 4 months, dude.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
I mean,
We almost had the same playlist for the last 3 years.
Yeah, totally. I mean, you know, if something warrants being good and you and play, I'll throw it in there. But I mean, I have a harder time finding things that I actually like these days.
Chris, do you play old kick drums or newer kick drums?
Dude, I actually went back having I had a phase in my life.
What was the most recent kick drum that you downloaded?
I'm making them myself now these days, dude. They're easily made. 5 minutes.
Punchbox. You're using Punchbox, right?
I'm using Punchbox, yes.
From DC.
Caroline, when you said in the beginning that you were playing the music is a very private thing for you, you know, and you wouldn't want to do a stream. I just want to tell you the experience that I had with the streams now that we've done. I've done 2 streams already, DJ streams. This is why my room looks like this, kind of, because I kind of like thought I'm putting a club in here. I have a fog machine and a strobe and everything. And I really enjoy that. I'm really having fun with this. But playing the stream was a really intimate and very personal thing. It was somehow very different than playing on the radio, which we all are used to, what it is to play on a radio, in a studio to record something. You know, that was kind of like, this is kind of like the place where I live right now.
Yeah, I just, I understand, but I don't really like to be filmed like this for an hour, but I'm gonna do a stream because I was asked to do one. I don't know when, but
what I wanted to tell you,
but I don't really need in this moment. I don't really need to appear live somewhere. That's
cool. What I just wanted to say is like, it was a totally different experience for me. And I ended up playing, I don't know, just like I was playing in the club. I didn't become an ambient DJ. Like I would be playing in the club, and I really enjoyed it. And I found it really almost even easier and more effortless than in a club. And that was really an interesting experience. It was on a very personal level, it was really interesting. That's why I thought like, it's just like, if you think about doing a stream, you might be surprised what comes out of it.
Yeah, but I always mix at home. So for me, playing 1 hour with my records, banging or not, it's just the fact that I'm filmed that annoys me, because I don't really enjoy that people see me steady like this for an hour, you know.
Put the camera on, just put it on your hands. And actually you can change your perspective in the fact that you're not playing for yourself. There you go.
There we go.
You're not playing for yourself. You're providing people who are stuck at home with something to do and something to listen to.
No, but I will do it because I was asked for an interesting thing. So, and it's a charity thing, so I'm gonna do it. But by myself, I don't need this right now. Yeah, you know. But I understand if people, Chris, I understand if people want to watch streamings. It's great. We need it, of course, but for my liking, I prefer to watch people than being watched.
Right. But there's like the questions, is there too many people streaming already these days?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
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 It's funny though, but
So-
you can kind of tell if you scratch a little bit beneath the surface who are people are doing it because they're doing it because they love it, and people who are doing it because they're just trying to fight for some attention or to stay relevant somehow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I understand if you're like a turntablist, or if you're using CDJs, then you should just turn the camera off.
Yeah, that's true.
It's literally pressing
Yeah.
a button. I mean, for
Yeah,
me-
that's the point. Like,
yeah,
Mm.
music for me is sound. It's not vision. I mean, that's why I think if you look back to maybe like the 1930s or 1920s, when people were listening to radio, they didn't know whether the singer was black or whether whether maybe they were female or male. You
yeah,
know, a lot of music, and you build your own kind of romanticism within music, which I think again is lost when you just give people everything. You know, you give, here's the person, here's playing the music, blah blah blah. There's just no. For me, again with techno was always this sort of futurism, sort of sci-fi thing where you close your eyes and imagine worlds or whatever. It was, which you lose when you give, when it's just everything.
yeah. But
This comes to the new generation, where the new generation is literally everything is visual on their phones, and it's all right here. So like they need to see the person. You know
yeah,
what I
but
mean?
it's really important that it's not a fate. We can really we have the possibility every day to transmit what you just said, Radio Slave.
Yeah.
We can, you can be on social media and represent yourself, and you do it very well, all of you. So yeah, we can be creative this way as well. How we want to represent ourselves, how we want to present simply ourselves, with this spirit. It's possible. And some young people do it too. It's not everybody is like showing off, and that's the thing. We can use social media to carry these values,
Yeah, I think it's a fine line between just pure vanity and also then a public message, and if it's a public service and you're providing people sort of some, I don't know, some, just relief, whether it's musically or otherwise, then at least it should be honest and not just pure like, hey, look at me,
yeah.
I'm sitting on my couch, blah blah, look at me, blah blah blah, because I think that's what we're seeing. It's just everyone kind of, they've lost their kind of like, maybe they've lost their thing, which was maybe performing in public, and now they feel the need to do it somewhere else, where maybe they should be spending their time like maybe you described earlier in the show, where you've been maybe cooking or riding your horse or going to the cinema or whatever, and I think that's what maybe a lot of people that are involved in our industry maybe need to do.
Like, what was the name of that comedian, David?
Which one?
Chris
Oh,
Janelle.
yeah.
What did he say? He was like, a lot of sad things happening in the world today, but don't
Oh,
forget
no,
about me.
Anthony Jeselnik. Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Don't forget about me today.
Is there other good questions in the pipeline?
I was just listening to you guys now. It was so interesting. It's just like,
There
what's going on?
There was a pretty big topic Chris had, but I don't know if he wants to do it or not. I don't know if I should even mention it.
The pretty big topic. Which one of the two again?
It was about the streaming, but it was about something that was
United We Stream, right?
Yeah.
Oh, shall we really talk about this?
That's why I didn't know if I wanted to say it or not.
So I think we should all physically distance, right, Caroline? We should all physically distance these times, because that's really saving lives. And it's crazy what's going on. I'm not sure how exactly the situation is in France right now, but it's crazy. Go see what's going on in America with the hospitals and the healthcare workers are just doing such a crazy job. What a life they are going through right now. That is so insane when you think about it. You know, what's going on out there.
Yeah, well, in France, we are one of the highest touched countries in terms of death.
Yeah.
And it's not slowing down. And we have now this big issue with foster homes where people die and no one knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, like the lockdown will continue for at least whole May, if not more. But I think the only way is to test everyone and to get out of this very slowly and
we
and
really
get controlled, because even if the epidemic is going down, it can come back.
Yeah.
So
And
the solution is to have tests and to be tested and to be controlled by with our mobile phone where we are. It's the only way.
I think it is. And it's so important to be physically distant right now. And then, I don't know if you've heard of United We Stream. They try to collect money for clubs everywhere, which is a great idea, but I think the way they do it is wrong, because they still ask the DJs to come to the clubs to play the gigs from there and to get streamed.
No.
And so you have technicians, you have staff of the club in there, and what do you do? Why do you do that? It's so unnecessary, because you can easily stream from home. It's just literally, it's a free software. You can easily do that. Running the risk of putting people in cabs and driving them to clubs. I was asked to go to Stuttgart from here to do this. And I was like, are you guys like, what? I'm gonna drive down to Stuttgart now with a train? Why? This is so unnecessary. I mean, great, let's do these streams, but do you really have to to do them out of the clubs? That was my whole point.
Yeah,
and
but
I was wondering, what do you think?
In France, it's totally forbidden to leave home.
Yeah.
So this would never work here, neither in Italy or Spain or I mean, it's just because you guys have rules that are a little bit more flexible than here, because you have less casualties. But here, no one is allowed to leave home, besides going to the grocery store with a paper, and you have to write down the time you leave home, and you have 1 hour. And it's the same for exercising, 1 hour, 1 kilometer around your house, and that's it. And one by one, not with your partner or whatever. So it's quite strict now. And yeah, it should be this way, whether you do it all the way or you don't.
The weather in Berlin's too good. Everybody's so willing to get out.
I was out today in Cotti in Kreuzberg, and it's like it's business as usual. But I mean, it's quieter, but for sure it's not a real lockdown.
Well, I gotta tell you, I've never seen the streets of LA as empty as it is right now.
That's so crazy.
It's almost scary. It's like, it feels very apocalyptic.
Wow. You have also full lockdown?
I'm sorry?
We're on lockdown, but we can, it's not, we don't have to have a paper to go outside. Like, we can go to the grocery store, but like pretty much every business that's considered non-essential is closed. So it's, restaurants, pharmacies, grocery stores are open. Restaurants, you can only take your food to go or get it, delivery. So
I heard this morning on the news that they were actually, California was the first state to start writing fines for people, like people who are still going to the parks or going to national parks like Joshua Tree or even the beach. They're actually starting to write tickets now. So
yeah, like the beaches are closed. A lot of major hiking trails are closed. Big parks are closed. Smaller ones are okay, but it's, we've been on lockdown for like I think like 3 weeks now, maybe a little bit more. I don't remember.
And I just saw a news clipping about all these sea turtles that are laying eggs on the beach because the beaches are empty.
Yeah.
So we're giving the world a chance to heal itself.
This must be really hard for the French though, Caroline, because you're such social creatures. I mean, you guys are so social.
But that's why Italy, Spain, and France are very touched
Yeah.
by this virus, because we hug, because we are outside, we are, you know, on like talking for hours outside in cafes and stuff. And
How are your neighbors? How are your friends coping with
well, I
like
live
being isolated?
I live isolated. I have one neighbor other side of the street. She's 80 years old. She's on oxygen twice a day. So I do grocery for her. I bake cakes and I bring most of the cakes to her. And that's how we keep a link. So she's not going out at all because of course she would die immediately. But I have friends in the village, and they also go grocery shopping once a week or twice a week max, and no one is going out. And we don't have any cases here. My area is quite protected so far because it's very rural, no big cities, and a lot of old people. So everybody is very serious about it, but in Paris, it's horrible. It took a long time for people to understand that it was serious.
Yeah.
Also because the government didn't know either, didn't tell us right away like this. They are just telling us now that we have to wear masks.
Mm.
1
Yes,
week
thank you
ago,
very
they
much.
were saying that masks are only for people who are infected, which is completely stupid. So yeah, it's difficult, but so far people are respecting the lockdown, and there is a huge come together, you know, people are really helping each other, which is also another amazing side of it. So there is a lot of positive aspects to that time. And but unfortunately, day after day, more deaths, around 6, 7, 800 every day. So, and we are close to 8,500 now. So yeah, it's not going down. So we are locked down for another month, I think. Yeah. What about you guys?
Well, I'm pretty sure it's for all of the U.S. We're locked down so far until the end of, well, the beginning of May. But that's depending on where it goes. I don't know if I haven't really been watching the news much, so I don't know if the curve has been going down or if it's still climbing. That I don't know.
We're in a cesspool of shit in this country.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's going to be terrible in the US for sure.
And they just started, I think last week they just started recommending, just like you said about wearing a mask, like everybody, whether you feel symptoms or not, they want to recommend everyone to wear a mask. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that's all of the US, maybe just California. I'm not sure.
Ali?
I mean, you know, from our travels in Southeast Asia, we're quite used to seeing people with masks. To me, it's always been a no-brainer. But all of a sudden now they're saying, oh, well, you know, you could actually protect one another if everyone is wearing masks. So they are recommending that whenever you go out, especially if you're going to a grocery store. I just went grocery shopping for my parents the other day, and I had gloves and a mask. And literally, this was the first time I saw this. Everybody who was shopping and all of the employees had gloves and masks. So that's become like our new normal. But they should have, you know, recommended this from the very beginning.
I was
Totally.
under the
Less
impression
depth.
that that they weren't telling us to wear masks because they didn't want us to use whatever stock they had that the medical industry needed.
Yeah, but I mean,
You
they
know,
they could have said, okay, you could use your scarf or
Well,
if
that's
you
what they're
have
saying.
masks,
That's what
don't
they're
go out
saying
and
now.
buy the N95 masks. You know.
yeah.
Yeah, they're saying you can use a scarf or anything. You can make
Yeah.
your own mask or any out of cloth now. They're saying.
I mean, I don't know how it is in Europe, but if you go to a supermarket here in LA, we still are really low stock on food. It's not easy to get everything you need.
There's
So
certain things that are just like toilet paper. I can't find flour to bake bread.
flour, sugar.
Like
Yes, same here.
sugar, no flour. Yeah, it's
I mean, we don't really drink milk very much, but there's no milk and there's definitely no eggs and you know, canned
like
foods
oat
are
milk and
completely
almond,
gone.
which is a great substitute.
Yeah. Pasta is near impossible to find as well. Rice is hard to find as well. So a lot of
think it
things are gone.
depends. I think it depends where you live, dude. Because like my supermarket, I went to 2 different ones, fully stocked, except for like toilet paper, flour, eggs. But everything else, like produce, pasta, everything, all that stuff, bread, completely full, milk, everything.
How's
So
it
I
in
think it
Kreuzberg,
varies. I think it varies by city by city.
It's fine. I mean, it's business as usual. The supermarkets are, again, it's the same thing. If you go to like Rossman's, which is kind of a little, like I mean, they
Like a CVS.
rolls, stuff like that. They're out of that kind of stuff, but everything else is fine.
I've heard in LA, you can actually, there's a lot of farmers that are
Yeah.
creating like these baskets of whatever
Little
fresh that they're
case.
growing. Yeah. And they'll
Those-
deliver it to you.
They sell out so fast though, because I've found websites that do that, and once they announce it, within like an hour or two, they're sold out, and they're like, "Well, wait for the next one." So like, you have to really keep watching their Instagram pages or websites. There's even like some local breweries that are getting stuff from their local farmers, and they're putting together little kits of like produce and fruit and like even a toilet paper roll, and they immediately sell out. So I mean, it's great, but you have to really keep on top of it to find them.
I think they'll evolve, you know, like the notion of a typical farmer's market is going to evolve, and the farmers are going to turn into maybe the grocery stores of tomorrow. you
Yeah,
know?
I mean,
And people are going to opt to order direct from local farmers and buy local, as
exactly.
opposed to going into the grocery store.
Yeah, I mean, I would prefer to have it delivered than going into the grocery store. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that you can do that. That's happening in the UK a lot. These green boxes that they deliver it. That's been happening for years. That kind of stuff. But it's very local. It's not on a large scale. So
Caroline takes us through on a tour through her house.
Yeah, I'm
Hey,
just moving back to the living room. That's my greenhouse.
oh wow.
I have a
Nice.
little greenhouse. Now I'm because I have to like free my dog and take her out. Just open the door. You will see.
Yeah, we're already at 2 hours anyways already. I think maybe it's like if you guys want to talk about some other stuff, I would have one more thing to mention because of toilet paper that I've learned this week. It's really interesting with the supply chains of toilet paper. I'm not sure why we're ending on this subject.
People want to know.
But there is heaps of toilet paper produced for like restaurants and bars and dorms and airports. And there's like warehouses full of this kind of toilet paper, but that is produced by completely different companies. So there's loads of toilet paper, but that like all these airports, bars, restaurants, dorms are not open. So this toilet paper is not delivered. The toilet paper that we are using privately, is a whole different supply chain. And they have always been producing toilet paper just on the limit as we are using. But now we're all home, right? We're not in restaurants anymore using the other toilet paper. So now we're all home. So that is why there is the shortage as well. They can't keep up with producing the toilet paper that we're not using while shitting in restaurants.
So you think about the amount of toilet paper you could have been stockpiling for your tour manager every time you're in a hotel or in a like an airport lounge.
You
Next
know
time
what?
you're-
I'm running out of shower gel. Because I never bought shower gel in like
a
20
couple of
years.
those from the bag.
Why would I? I always have it from the hotels.
I need a haircut.
Me too. It's
Me
been
too.
the longest
Who's
I
he?
had it.
Oh, cute.
Oh,
That's Nana, the terror.
the terror.
The terror with a long nose and long ears.
Oh.
Yeah, she was naughty, so now she's all sweet. Huh?
Ellie, I'm sorry.
Who else has pets?
I do.
What do you have?
I have 2 cats.
Oh,
I thought about getting a dog yesterday just to keep me company.
you know that's another thing when I got it, because I love animals. I always had cats.
Yeah.
And when I got a dog, everybody told me, "Oh, with your job, it's impossible." And it was one of the decisions that I made to not to have my job dictate my life.
Mhm.
And I made arrangement to have like I found solutions.
Mhm.
So this was really also a very good decision for me to do that, a step to, yeah, a good step. So you can be a DJ and have a dog, no problem.
No, it was a great conversation on just like looking inward now and finding that life work balance that we all wished, I think secretly that we have.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I'm sure you are sleeping like you never had before.
That's very true. I've been like on a consistent schedule for the last month, and it's been pretty amazing.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I find that I sleep better on the road because I don't have a 3-year-old kicking me in the morning at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
I'm sure Matt's got the same problem.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I get up at 6 in the morning and I go to bed at usually about 9. So this is late for me.
That's been my schedule. Like 9 or 10 p.m. I go to sleep and wake up like around 6 in the morning.
I can't get to bed before 3 or 4 for some reason, but I still get up at like 9 to, I remote workout with my personal trainer in Barcelona, like clockwork at 10 a.m., which is really funny. And now we found like, you know, all the exercises that work remotely, like body weight exercises. So it's a good start to the day.
Oh, I need to get in that routine.
That's a good job. Start doing, remote, physical training online. Like my wife does yoga classes over Zoom.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
And like everybody who joins in just donates, and it's got to find a way to make a living in this situation.
Yeah.
Can you put the link of Audrey's yoga class on here somewhere in the
Yeah.
comment of the YouTube
Yeah,
chat?
please.
Too
Yeah.
bad. Too bad we can't do that with DJing, but people would talk shit.
Were there bad comments?
Oh yeah.
Because
People
we
that-
have to, we
There's-
also have to.
There's people that are complaining about DJs that are asking for donations when they're doing live streams, and the people are like, "What the hell? You shouldn't be doing that." It's like, well,
Yeah,
what the hell?
yeah, yeah, it's true. It's true.
So you can never win. You can't win with people.
Carol, and I'm showing off my streaming studio here.
Hey, Chris, does the smoke
Really enjoying
you
that.
got from Amazon, does it smell like the smoke in a club?
Yeah, it does. That's why I'm putting it on all the time.
I think I'm going to buy it just for that. I'm like addicted
It's
to
really,
that
that's
smell.
really the point, actually.
Oh, by the way, if I can say something for people who are buying stuff online, to avoid Amazon if you can, and
You're
to
talking to the right people
support
here.
like small businesses. That's what we are doing now in France a lot. It's to order stuff on French companies and support them, because once again the money goes to Amazon, where poor guys are working in huge, warehouses with for no money, and that sucks, it sucks. So yeah, if you can find stuff on other platforms, this and local businesses, this would help a lot. Yeah.
Guilty of that.
Over here too.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, sometimes you have no choice,
Like a
but
farm.
yeah.
In France, is the postal service in France? Is it working? I mean, can you get?
Yeah, it's working. Like my postman comes only twice a week,
Yeah.
but it's okay. I mean, we don't receive a lot of mail, and
This
I
was-
just got a delivery today because I bought on I think it's in you have Craigslist in UK, or what's the name in US for that?
Same.
But
crazy.
I just bought finally a beautiful Torrance
Oh, lovely.
Wow.
turntable for my because I had a really cheap one because my techniques are upstairs, and I listen to a lot of like jazz vinyls or electronica or vinyls of my mom here in the living room, and I just found it for a very cheap price. So I got it delivered today, secondhand. So yeah, I buy a lot of secondhand stuff as well. Let's if I can. Yeah.
Yeah, no shame in that.
What is like the delivery services around your house?
I
Is
think
it
in
working?
I think in well in from a music point of view, I think like everything's still working, but I just wonder, like, I mean, Phonica stopped. They've stopped pretty much. They stopped working. Juno's still going. Like in Germany, the Hardwax is still operating, decks and stuff like that. But I think it's going to become more and more difficult over the next few months, maybe. And it depends. I guess it's going to be supply and demand. It depends if people still, as people aren't working, will they still keep buying? I don't know, So
Yeah.
my sister lives in Morzine in the French Alps.
I see you are always there snowboarding.
Yeah, and I mean, I think they've because my mum's always trying to send them stuff from the UK, and I think now it's become impossible unless it's I think unless it's deemed as being very essential, then you can't post stuff. So I'm not sure how it's going to be in the next few months.
Yeah, but UPS, DHL, they are still working. So I think a lot of like I ordered some vinyls on Clone Records,
Okay.
and it's coming via UPS, which is usually not the case.
Cool.
So it's just to help, I think, the National Post that is busy with other things. So
I just think, especially with our industry, I think if it all kind of stops, then it's going to be really impossible for it to start again. And even for us, like independent small guys, it's just if the wheels do fall off, then we need to keep it going. Otherwise, it's going to take a really long time to rebuild the whole infrastructure.
That's what I'm saying. Like when this is all over, we will have a lot of requests to play for free or to play for cheap to support some places, and it's normal,
Oh yeah.
that because also, I mean, it's also hard for us. Like I'm not in the best financial situation because I just bought a little place in Paris, which is ridiculously expensive. So my savings are dead. So it's complicated, but I'm not complaining. We all earn a comfortable amount of money, enough to survive for a while. But yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy for everyone, and we will all have to stick together to make this work. The thing is, like, people will need to party hardcore, So we
Yeah.
will always have jobs,
But this
but
is-
how and when, probably the last ones to start working again.
I wonder though, this is what a friend was saying, was that when the people start going out again, will they really care who's playing? If, because, well, will it, the guest DJ might not even be important, because
No.
Yeah.
you'd be so happy just to go out and have a drink and hang out with other people, that again, you know, going back to what we were talking about earlier, it will ultimately benefit the local scenes, and
Yeah.
this
And
is
that's
maybe
good.
what's been neglected for years anyway, so it's going to be a good thing. But maybe people won't care whether it's some DJ who comes for 2 hours and plays blah blah blah, like you said, or plays safe, you know. So it could be a really good thing, you know.
Yeah,
Well,
I thought about this the other day, and I think we brought this up in a previous conversation, but I think it's the same thing. It's like once the first parties and clubs start opening up, you're most likely not going to be able to have out of town guests, so they're going to have to look at the local DJs, and at that point, nobody's going to care. They want to go out and party and let out all this like pent up, you know, frustration and energy that they've been holding out, and probably go pretty crazy. So I think it's pretty cool, actually.
yeah. I may organize something in my village, outdoor, where people can party, you know, maybe with masks and gloves, because I mean, the mayor of my village, she's a really cool woman, and she asked me like to play, you know, and I always refused because I said I'm here anonymously. I don't want to work when I'm here, but this may be a good opportunity to, yeah, to help my village and help there is a bar and grocery store, but they had to close, and it's very hard for them. So I may do this, and I don't know if the old people here would enjoy some techno, but at
We're all going to
least
have weekly residencies again. Everything's going to go.
You never know. These people might want to get out and do something. They might be
Yeah.
into it. They'll be like, I
Yeah.
don't care what's going. They're like, I don't care what it is. I want to get out and like be with people again. You know.
yeah, I think I will do this, because we still don't know if we will be able to work in the summer.
Yeah.
It starts to be like we are in this for quite some time.
I think so too.
So yeah,
Yeah, better
so
get
far,
comfortable at home.
Very.
I love it, you know. I would have never been able to take 2 or 3 months. I did once in my life because I had a burnout in 2006, and I took 3 months off, but that's it. It's the only time I really stopped. So what about you? Have you ever taken like a long break to really recharge completely your batteries?
Not like this, no.
When I got sick in 2013 with I had a like an abscess in my tonsils in the summer. It was basically just from touring and whatnot, and yeah, I had to take like I think almost 3 months off, and that was like a real reset for me. And I actually became sober from the summer of 2013 till the sort of midway through 2015. So that was the first time, but that was kind of like necessary.
Wow. Yeah, we have to do this more often. Take 3 weeks to, you know, away from our job and be with our friends and family, and to
Chris, have you done this? You don't come. I can't remember if you've ever taken a weekend off. Have you?
I had my last January off in 2010.
Wow.
Yeah. I've been in this hamster wheel since 10 years non-stop, really. And the
Enjoy
crazy, And the crazy thing is I really enjoyed it until the end. Like but I think that's what we come back when we talked about in the beginning, how conscious are you of, or how conscious are you of what's influencing you from the outside. And I really had fun doing what I was doing. But you never really know how influenced that thinking is from the outside, or how invincible you are doing what you're doing, and you're just like, it just happens to be just the thing that you're doing, you know.
I think it's always been a little bit different for me. I don't know if David can relate to this or not, but I've never really ever had I've never had the pleasure of just being able to like say no to gigs for a certain amount of time, because we've just been in a constant hustle to just like, you know, get the gigs that we do get. But at the same time, I can relate to the fact that I've never ever really urged to be a type of DJ who played every weekend, every festival. I mean, Chris, you know me pretty damn well.
Yeah.
I'll be like, no, I think I'd rather just stay home because it's like I want an equal balance of being able to spend
And
time.
the same way, you know me, right? I'll just be like, yeah, I'll play longer.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll just go. And I've always admired that kind of energy. And I mean, of course, I feel incredibly like, you know, blessed to be able to have the gigs that I have and be able to travel and be able to see the world that I have been able to, because there are a lot of people who wish and dream that they can have those experiences. So I don't take it for granted by any means, but balance is incredibly important to me. And I've always wanted to be able to have a balance of being able to spend time with my family and be able to spend time, you know, with my friends, and be in California and just be home, and also be on the road and do things. But, you know, some people have the options to do it and some people don't. So I think you just got to constantly do what makes you most happy, you know?
Yeah, but I think we pretty much always have the choice. Then it's a question of organization. But that's something I'd like to know from you guys. What's your strongest prise de conscience in French, consciousness, like out of this experience, what strikes out as a, is it clear what I'm fucking saying?
I think I know
What
what
are we
you're
learning from the experience? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah,
About
if,
ourselves?
what
What's
you,
the-
yeah, exactly. Right
the
now,
the biggest impression you have on you during this time, you
yes,
mean?
yeah,
Like, what's the biggest thing that you so far have learned out of these 20?
yes, exactly, yes.
Yeah.
I'll start. I'll say for me, it's just to be absolutely 100% grateful for the things that you have, because it's super easy to take things for granted. You know,
Yeah.
it's super easy to be like, oh, I have too many gigs, I can't play. And it's super easy to, you know, take anything that you're blessed with to take for granted, and then and not appreciate it. And then when it's gone, you realize, oh man, I actually really want this or that or whatever it is, you know.
I
And
agree.
that's been very key to me.
Mm.
Yeah, same. Like I've realized the same with Mo. It's like you like to be able to travel and do what we do for a living, that a small percentage of people that could actually do. It's pretty amazing. And you know, we travel all the time. We're in airports and we complain about being tired and we can never be home. And now it's just like, hey, guess what? You have no choice but to be home. So you realize, like, damn, I really had it pretty good, even though I was complaining all the time. But also, I've been able to reflect on myself personally, even though honestly, even though I haven't been very productive, I've realized that this is one thing that Mo even told me about. We actually talked about this before, where, you know, I made music for the clubs, and when I made my music, I was worried about whether it's gonna work in the clubs, or if it's gonna sell. And now it's just like, you know what? I need to get back to where before I had any success, to where I just write music that I like, even though it's club music still, but I just need to get to the point where I'm just like, I'm gonna make shit that I like, and if it works, it doesn't work, and if it works, great. And that's what Mo says. Like, man, it's just techno, dude. Like, just fucking write music. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And I've gotten to this point before where I was just like, man, I need to make these hits, you know? Like I've always had the hit mentality on my mind. Not always, sorry, but like it got to that point where I wanted to write music that was gonna be a good seller or something that's gonna work really great on the dance floors. And now I'm just like, you know what? I'm like, that doesn't even matter anymore because there's no dance floors. I mean, the dance floors are the living rooms or somebody wearing headphones, running on a treadmill. So now it's just like I need to get back to where I'm writing music for myself, and if people like it, then bonus. That's what I've been thinking about more lately.
Mm.
Next.
Yeah, bravo.
And
It's the best thing we heard tonight, right?
Yeah.
there's a lot of good things we heard tonight.
Yeah,
Thank
and-
you.
It was-
Yeah, Ali.
Thanks for being so honest, Caroline. I
Yeah.
think that was really, really refreshing. It
Yeah.
seemed like I was following the comments, and it seemed like for a lot of people, they've been yearning for that kind of artistic honesty.
Yeah.
Ali, your biggest takeaway from the last 3 weeks?
I mean, I'm still processing everything.
That's
For
a
me,
takeaway.
the biggest thing is like when we come out of this, I'm gonna rethink like where I live and how I live, and I want to retreat back into nature. Like I kind of feel boxed in. I've always had this mentality of wanting to be like always in the center of the action and in the middle of the city, and I've realized now that that's not, you know, that's not really what I've needed.
Yeah.
So I've been kind of misleading myself and thinking that was, you know, what I craved and what worked for me. And I'm realizing now in this situation that it's the complete opposite. And you know, it's going to come in handy when we start to recalibrate our careers and try to have more balance and need to take time off. You know, where do you want to spend that time off? You want to
Yeah.
retreat into nature. Nature is, I think, really therapeutic, especially when you're getting away from our lives of being in that hamster wheel of like, you know, airports, hotels, cars, festivals, clubs. Becomes a bit much.
Yeah. So much.
Okay.
Me, to be honest, like my life really at this point hasn't changed so much, just because so much just going on anyway regarding, you know, making music, or if it's with the label, and of course it's changed at home with the kids and wife and how we're living our lives. But again, I think we still don't know how things are going to be in 6 months, or, you know, so taking every day as it is, really, and that's it, and keeping myself busy, or keeping, you know, with everything, and trying to not, I guess, yeah, I don't want the wheels to fall off with what we're doing, or for people to lose sight, or to lose faith in what we're doing, because I think people are still, you know, still believe in what we do. So that's it, basically.
Mm.
I think that's what we're showing them right now, aren't we, Lou? That we care about what we're doing here.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm. Yeah.
Chris, I think you're the next.
Yeah.
Well, what? I think I have, for a weird reason, I've noticed I've become so much calmer, and I don't find myself worrying too much, even though there is stuff to worry about, obviously. But I don't really stress out so much as before, and I still stress out, but it's more about positive things that I want to do, and I'm feeling so energized. It's crazy somehow. Like it needs to get out, and I need to like kind of like channel my energies a little bit here and there. But I think the calmness comes also. I realized, and I mentioned that last week, I think, that when I got into an airplane and we had a long distance flight, like 13 hours going to Buenos Aires, there was a certain calmness to this flight somehow for me. I always felt like, oh, great. And I realized now it's because I was able to give up control. Like the captain has control. I can't do anything for the next 13 hours. I'm just going to be sitting here, and it gives you this calmness. And I have this sensation again now, and it kind of also maybe teaches me that I should carry on having that sensation even if things keep going again. You know, just a certain kind of like more connected to nature. What Ali was also mentioning. You know, it's like more connection to nature, to what's going on. And that's so far my takeaway of that thing. But I'm sure it's going to change here and there.
Yeah, it could change in the next 2 weeks. You can start
Exactly.
changing.
What do you miss most about touring life? Like, or
Seeing friends.
Yeah.
like that grind. What is it that you miss the most? You guys.
For me, it's hearing a different language, seeing different people, looks, food, just being in touch with a different culture was always for me the highlight of this big chance to play music around the world. As an international artist, for me that was the luxury.
Yeah.
To hear a different language, to see a different culture. And that's what I miss living now in a small village. Even though I have really a difficult time touring. After a few days, I'm unhappy. But I miss this regular shot of foreign culture in my life. I really miss that. And but I'm very grateful, like, to have come all this way and I've made this change to nature. And yeah, so I don't miss touring so much right now. Not yet. Not
Chris,
yet.
you're absolutely right. Like with that calming effect of getting on a long flight. And now what we have to realize is we have that calming effect right here at home.
We have it collectively.
But
It's a forced upon us calming effect collectively, and it's such an interesting moment in time. I mean, there's so much suffering going on outside. We should never forget about this. We're very privileged in our situation here.
Very.
And we do what we can do, but there's some people out there who have to really like work so hard to keep this society going right now. And I don't know. I sometimes, this is like, I know this like kind of every moment. I'm sitting on the balcony and I'm thinking like, wow, out there so many people have to work right now. I mean, on the other side, we cannot work right now, which is another like bad thing out of a lot of because of a lot of aspects, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
Chris?
Yes. Did you lose me? I was finished.
Should we wind down?
Yeah. I mean, we wanted to stick to kind of 2 hours. I don't know, we've been doing this for 2 hours. Caroline, it was so much fun to have you on board. Thank you so much for being so honest.
So much,
and
Caroline.
you were really like, you were touching with everything you were saying there. And
Yeah, it was amazing.
The last word, promise, deal that we all have dinner face to face when this is all over. We make it happen.
We'll make it happen. Yeah, for sure.
Promise here. Tang.
Give me 5. Was really lovely to see you guys. And Truncate, thank you for the amazing remix.
Yeah, it's a great remix. I was going to ask if you guys had met before.
Never met.
The best of the last, you did a remix? Yeah. I don't know about it. What remix? What are we talking about?
Ash said something, right?
Years ago.
He said,
oh, I remember I played it. I'm sorry. I remember
now. The cool part about this is that she wrote me on Instagram, but she handwrote a letter and took a picture of it on Instagram.
Wow.
I was like, wow, that was pretty amazing. Like, I've never seen that ever.
That's like, one of the little things to get what you want. Be creative.
So cool, Yeah, I was like, nobody's ever handwritten letter to me and asked. me for-
Caroline, you're a special person. Don't ever change.
Thank
Yes.
you guys.
Yeah,
Thank
it was
you.
really-
Yeah, it's
And
been really,
Ali,
really fun.
get a house in the country, Ali.
Yes. At the top of the list.
We put it up there. Thank you so much.
Hi, guys.
Thanks for being with us. Thanks, guys. We'll be
you.
back next week, I guess. And
Another guest, I guess.
then David is choosing a secret guest. Everyone stay healthy out there. Keep your fucking physical distance. That's the only thing we can do right now, seriously. Just for the sake of your grandparents and all these people who work in hospitals right now and in supermarkets and deliver the packages and here and there and here and there. So stay safe, everyone, and thank you guys.
Thanks,
Thanks so
Chris.
much.
Cheers, buddy.
Ciao, guys.
Bye-bye.
Right.
Bye.
We'll cut this conversation now.
Now.
Now.